Bans, that is the name of the game here today for, in particular, Standard. We got 5 days in. Let's see what that meta says here on our Friday Night Meta weekly series here on the channel. Thank you for tuning in as always. Down below, you'll find the timestamps where we break down each of the formats, giving you the latest and greatest. On top of that, we go through best of 1 and best of 3. Last but not least, we pull everything back together as we always do. So thank you for tuning in. If you happen to have a question or comment throughout the episode, do let me know. I'd love to hear from you as always. And please feel free to swing by the Discord server and join the community there as well. All right, so here's what we got going on. Standard meta, some shakeups with the bans about 5 days ago. Excited to take a look here. We had some big news with Kiki Jiki and a host of other things that did get banned, Invoke Despair, that kind of stuff as well, and Rechner Bankbuster. So a few changes there that have occurred, primarily going to hit best of 3, obviously still hitting best of 1, but here is what the new meta currently looks like, and we can look at some of those trends. So mono white coming out on top, Azora Soldiers, Selesnya Enchantments, mono red aggro, mono red burn, Esper Legends, 5-color domain, and mono blue tempo. On the right here, you can see Selesnya Enchantments is that #1 played deck right now, and then as you can see as well, the popularity over time did take a big jump up at the banning. Same with mono white. Everything else kind of stayed and trended the same, and then the win rate has slightly increased for mono white humans, as we can see over the time post ban. So those are some key pointers there for us in terms of what's happening. And on top of that, we hit a reset for the June season. So a lot going on when we get compression in the meta and those things as well. So right now at an aggregate, we're not really going to have Mythic. So this is about as good as it gets for us. Let's move over to best of 3 here. Best of 3, this is what we got going on. The big winner being Esper Legends right now. Mono red aggro also getting up there. We got mono white humans, Azora Soldiers, 5-color domain, Selesnya Enchantments, dimmer mid-range here at 48.3. So we do start to see some of these things changing in the meta because of the bans and those kinds of things. We saw at Esper Control as well in there. And then here's what we got going on the right. Esper Legends, 5-color domain being the top 2 played list. Then here you can see that 5-color domain actually coming down in terms of what's going on. We continue to see Selesnya Enchantments going up, but really that Esper Legends heavily picking up, going from 3.8 to about 9% of the meta. And then here on the right, we see that win rate, actually mono white humans falls. We got mono red getting a little bit better, and that Esper Legends really skyrocketing again in terms of win rates and what's happening right now of epic proportions, as we like to say, or I should say legendary proportions. So that is what the current meta looks like in terms of the bans. We'll continue to watch it as things evolve, as things change, as we know that is fairly typical when we have new bannings as well as a reset. Probably going to take maybe another week for these things to get a little bit more figured out and sorted through. So that is Standard. Let's go ahead and move over to Alchemy. Alchemy right now, here's what we got going on. Selesnya Enchantments, Grixis midrange, 5-color Reanimator, mono black, mono red aggro, and then Rakdos Sacrifice, mono red aggro, heavily played. That still continues as we see that going on. And then additionally here, though, we do have that Selesnya Enchantments popping up in terms of win rate and doing a little bit better than it has historically. Best of 3, here's what we got going on. Grixis midrange, 5-color Reanimator, mono red. Grixis is still in there at the top, and then here you go. And then again, 53% of you are playing this list in Alchemy. All right, let's go to Historic. Here's what we got for best of 1 today. Boros Affinity, Esper Affinity, 5-color Reanimator. Is it Wizards? Source Control? Is it Belcher? Rakdos midrange, mono green elves. Now, we've been playing a bunch of these ones. You can check those out here on the channel. Is it Wizards, mono green elves? Is it Wizards being the really heavily played? But we do see that fall off there with that Aftermath release and then a reset here in terms of what's happening in the meta. We do see a big jump in that 5-color Reanimator, which is pretty typical a lot of times at that reset, or just 5-color Reanimators. Esper Affinity doing very well here, again doing well towards the end, continuing to keep its win rate up there in terms of best of 1. Let's check out best of 3 Historic. So here's what we got going on in best of 3. Is it Wizards, mono green Devotion, 4-color Kethos, 5-color Reanimator, Rakdos midrange, Gruul Goblins, Azorius Control, and Jund midrange. Really playing that Rakdos midrange and 5-color Reanimator here. Big jump again at the start of the season. We see that happening as well for 5-color Reanimator, like we just talked about. And then in terms of win rates, it used to be 5-color Reanimator there towards the end. Cruel Goblins being fairly consistent there in terms of their win rate. And then here on the right, we see that Cruel Goblins dropping off. But then a lot of things moving around here for the June reset. Ooh, a lot going on. All right, now we got Explorer, last best of 1 and best of 3. Here we go. Mono White Humans, Azor's Control, Sledge Angels, Abzan Greasefang, Mono Red Aggro, Rakdos Midrange, Boros Convoke, Mono Green Devotion. In terms of Explorer, there we go. There you have it. Mostly played at those top 4 lists there. Then here on the right, we do see that Boros Convoke getting really, really popular. Again, in terms of what's working out. And then here on the right, we see that Mono White Humans doing well. We see Celestial Angels kind of falling off. Source Control picking up, still doing pretty good in terms of how it's prevailed between the last season and this season. We'll continue to watch those things here as well. And let's move over to best of 3 Explorer. So here's what we got going on in best of 3. 5-color fires, Mono White Humans, Abzan Greasefang, Azor's Control, Deemer Rogues, Mono Green Devotion, Is It Creativity, and Rakdos Midrange. Then here it's definitely one of the most popular lists. And then we got Mono Green Devotion. And then here again, you continue to see what's tracking in terms of play. It's really Mono White Humans and fires, 5-color fires that falls down there. And then here on the win rate, we do continue to see that 5-color fires doing very well. Mono White Humans doing better than where it finished. And then everything else there as well. We see that uptick in that Dimmer Rogues there too. So that concludes Explorer. Last but not least, we have Historic Brawl. So here's what we got going on in Historic Brawl. Atraxa overcoming Ragavan there. And then we got Rusko Clockmaker, Thalia, Itali, Narset, Emoti, and Atraxa Praetor's Voice. Here on the right, lots of players playing Itali, Emoti, Ragavan falling, and Atraxa falling. And then again, you continue to see that popularity over time dropping off. And then here on the right, we do see that Atraxa popping over Ragavan. There you go. And Rusko picking up a little bit there, but then falling off here recently again, and then everything else. So that concludes our Historic Brawl. All right, fast, furious here in terms of this week's Friday Night Meta. Again, we went through the bans. We went through a June reset or season reset. Lots of compression here out of the gate. We got the broad range of what's going on because not really a ton of Mythic players here. Day 3, really in terms of what's happening with this meta. So we'll continue to keep an eye on a lot of these changes as things maneuver, as things bump around here over the next kind of couple weeks and get sorted. So thank you for tuning in. As always, appreciate your support. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the subs as we continue to grow this amazing community, and to all the members. With that, questions, comments, do let me know. What do you think of the bannings? I'd love to hear from you always. I've heard not enough, those kinds of things as well. So let me know in the comments. Feel free to swing by the Discord server and join the discussions there always as well. All right. Thank you. We got a ton of Magic the Gathering content here available to you on the channel. We've been doing a bunch of Historic. We got circling back around on Standard as always too, and a host of other things. With that, again, thank you. We'll see you soon. We got a ton more content headed your way. Until next time, Mythras out of here.